So once we've set up the hyperbola, okay, which is again something that approaches the x-axis and the y-axis in both directions. If we shift this thing 2 units to the right, that means that point right there is like the origin. It's right in the middle. It doesn't exist. In fact, what we have that exists are two asymptotes. There's two asymptotes that basically cross vertically and horizontally at the center point. Okay. An asymptote means it's something that the graph will approach but never get to. When we see this little dash here, you can't plug in 0 into the denominator of a fraction. That's why there's nothing that exists there. Okay, and the same thing is also true. It'll never flatten out to be equal to 0, no matter how big this number gets. If I plug in a million, 1 over 1 million is very small, but it's not 0. And the bigger this gets, the closer it's going to get to 0, even though it'll never get to 0. That's why it's approaching the x-axis, it's approaching the y-axis, but it'll never get to either one. Then when we shift it 2 units to the right, we just need to kind of move over this dotted plus thing. Okay? And the closest it gets is up 1 and over 1 on either side. And what you can do, if you have that point, and just draw your arrows to show that it's approaching but never getting there, that's a good way to kind of represent an accurate image. And the equation here is going to be, as we saw over here, when we did the x minus 2, this is going to be 1 over, instead of 1 over x, like this was instead of just the square root of x, it was the square root of x minus 2. This is going to be 1 over x minus 2. And then when we go down 1 unit, then the center is going to be here. We have our dotted line that's right through the y-axis and right through -1. It got shifted down, and if we have our little approach, again, I don't think the image is as important as understanding the equation here. Just like we did here, this thing here moved, the -1 is what shifted it down. We have y equals 1 over x. The -1 is separate. It's an afterthought after the, this chunk here is affected when you're talking left and right. It'll be in part of the denominator. But if it's up or down, then it's not going to be part of the denominator. It's going to be after the fact. And so if we're going 3 units to the left, the equation is going to be y equals 1 over. It's to the left this time. It's the opposite of what we would think, so it's going to be an x plus 3. And I've kind of indicated that here on my graph. There's your vertical and your horizontal, and your bada bing and your bada boom, and so on and thusly. Now, Sal, you'll notice we're doing the same thing on both sides here. We're going 1 unit to the right and 2 units up. That's 1 and then 2. 1 to the right, 2 units up. We have our little dotted plus there of asymptotes. You're going to go up 1 and over in each case. And then really it comes down to the equation. And on our worksheet, we're going to write out like the parent equation. And it'll be generally what's done. The left and right portion of this is the 1. We do the opposite. It's an x minus 1. The up and down portion of this is the 2. It's the afterthought. You put a plus 2 separate from the fraction. And the same thing here, if we, regardless of the graph, we're going to go 4 units to the left, 3 units to the down direction. And so the equation is going to be 1 over the x, change the sign, x plus 4. And then the minus 3 is going to be the portion that comes afterward.